Good morning, everybody. I'm Dr. Yasser Rifai from Morocco. I'm a cornea specialist, and I will present one-year outcomes of corneal reference guided PRK in early keratoconus in 841 eyes. I have no financial interest in this presentation. So we know that cross-linking stabilizes and rarely improves the visual acuity. Corneal refractive guided PRK refines corneal shape and optics, and the combination between PRK and cross-linking enhances structural and functional outcomes. So the aim is to have better and best corrective visual acuity, sometimes incorrective visual acuity, to reduce astigmatism, keratometric normalization. So it was a prospective study about 1 year patients of 1841 keratoconic eyes. So we used MS39 guided PRK, and I worked with Schwinn Amaris 750. I did cross-linking immediately after every case. So this is the software we use, and this is the protocol. So we included stable keratoconus with the thickness of total cornea more than 400 microns. The ablation depth was limited to 50 microns, and we used total corneal wavefront. This is the objective, the aim of MS39, that you can have the total corneal wavefront, not only the anterior surface. And follow-up visits was on 1 year, after 1 week, 3 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year. So these are some morphologic results. You have, in the first case, the visual acuity before the surgery was 6 out of 10, and we had a lot of cases of 10 out of 10 refraction and visual acuity. But it's not what the rule. In the second case, you have 0.4 getting to 0.7, but the refraction and aberration. The problem is not the refraction, but the high order aberration. This is a summary of our results. We have a better best corrective visual acuity. We have less corneal thickness, so that's why we should remove the minimal quantity of tissue. The Kmax is going down after surgeries, and the Q value is going better. So first case, I will show you some cases. 25 years old. This is the visual acuity before surgery. This is the topography before. And I will show you the pupillometry. This is very, very important. I try to go until 0.5 millimeters more than the myopic pupil. I feel in every eye. But I cannot, it's not a refractive surgery. Sometimes we are limited with the ablation, so maybe we cannot do like LASIK or refractive PRK. So we try to make a compromise between the pupil, between the ablation depth, between the post-operative keratometries and also the aberrations. This is the ablation profile. So we put our information, the thickness of the epithelium, and I put the same. Sometimes there are some other doctors that put in the center, not the same value in the periphery, 10 microns between them. I put the same in the center and in the periphery to have a real PTK before doing my PRK. So it is trans PRK with PTK and PRK at the same time in one shot. This is aberrations, and I try to choose all aberrations. If I can treat all the aberrations, it will be okay for me if it fits with my limits. It means my 50 microns, and the keratometry post-operative not very, very high, not more than 50. But sometimes it does not fit, and I have to play with aberration. This is what is good in Schwinn. This is maybe one of the only platforms that you can play with aberrations and choose. Sometimes you can remove some aberrations that are not very important, like spherical aberration. You can let it there, and the visual acuity will be good. And we use the artificial intelligence. We put the refraction, I put the cylinder, if I can. So I try to remove all the aberrations when I can. This is the case after surgery. You have 10 out of 10 visual acuity, and you see after the surgery the topography is not normal, but it is normal in the center. It means when the pupil, the pupil gain let us to have a good visual acuity. And when you see the anterior surface, it is distorted, but it is compensated with the posterior surface. That's the aim of total corneal reference. This is another case of a 23 years old. Visual acuity is 0.2. Always I try to see the pupil, even if in some cases I cannot go more than the pupil size. So this is how we play in the software. We choose all the aberrations, try to put all them, and then see the ablation depth. And then we can play, we can reduce with the artificial intelligence, like minimize or minimize plus depth or minimize volume. When you have a lot of ablation in the center, which is small, we use the ablation depth. But when it is peripheral, I prefer to go for reducing the volume. This is the before-after case, and the visual acuity is getting higher and higher. So this is two cases, two good cases. We have sometimes some not very good cases, but the rule is we have more than 90% cases. Patients are happy, and sometimes the visual acuity is not getting very high. The quantity is not very high, but the quality is better because we are reducing aberrations. So there is a significant improvement in visual acuity. High order and astigmatism are getting lower. We have the visual gain, and the curvature is better. It improves the shape, the vision. So there was no significant haze. There was some haze, but it is not reducing the visual acuity. So, but we have to follow the safety limits. Keratoconus is a very valuable cornea, very valuable tissue. We cannot just remove it's not refractive surgery, but we are trying to give patients more contact lens freedom and give them a better vision with spectacles. Should we introduce the cylinders? There are some colleagues that do not put the cylinder on the software. So for me, I put cylinder, but the cylinder I don't maybe put all the cylinder, or I try to put the quantity of cylinder that will have better vision, but without destroying the strome. From some months, I'm using now the Peramis, and I think it's a new approach in my clinic to use ocular wavefront guided. Maybe it is limited to 5 millimeters, but it seems to give very good results. So I'm now at about 300 or 400 cases, but I'm looking, maybe I will present the results next year. This is a case of Peramis, before and after, and this is you see there the ablation is peripheral. When the aberration is peripheral, make sure that the keratometry is not very high postoperatively. When it is very high, what I do is I put a small optical zone and I decenter the treatment with a 4 millimeter on the top of the cone, just to avoid to have very high keratometry on postoperatively. So this is a case of ocular wavefront with Peramis. It's the same way, just this is a total wavefront, total ocular wavefront guided, and the results are great. So maybe the future will be the foresight and it will help us to see our corneas after months before the surgery and give us maybe a good feeling and good prediction before doing this treatment. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Now, Shadi Awad, keratoconus treatment